Good evening. In October last year, when the Prime Minister launched the Swachh Bharat campaign, there was one thing he did differently as a politician. He actually set a target of just 1 year by Independence Day this year, he said that we should achieve 100% toilets in every government school across the country. That was more than 4 lakh toilets. In fact, 1.6 brand new ones from scratch to be built. If it's a massive number, and the Prime Minister apparently monitored it personally and pushed the whole agenda, and this week the government has claimed that they have achieved it. So on agenda, what we're doing is that we've got some children from Delhi government schools. They'll be telling us their toilet experience and how they're dealing, what they think of the Swachh Bharat campaign. We also have Sunita Narayan. The Centre for Science and Environment has done a whole audit of it, and Arvind Gupta of the BJP will also give, he's been associated with the toilet campaign as well, will also tell us the inside view of it. First, let's take a look at how it's worked out, especially in a district in Bengal where they've claimed they've achieved zero open defecation.
एक साल के अंतराल में प्रधानमंत्री जी का जो आदेश हमको प्राप्त हुआ था, उसके अनुसार 100% स्कूलों में सेपरेट टॉयलेट्स फॉर गर्ल्स और बॉयज की एक्सेस की व्यवस्था हम सक्सेसफुली कर पाए हैं.
It's a groundbreaking claim that fulfills the Prime Minister's promise from last Independence Day, and these are the two faces of it. Nadia in West Bengal, where every house has a toilet, and these so-called toilets in Delhi's government schools.
जो मॉर्निंग शिफ्ट में लड़कियों की शिफ्ट होती है, उस शिफ्ट में वो ज़्यादातर जो सफाई कर्मी है वो बोलती हैं कि वो पैड वगैरह उसमें डाल देती हैं तो वो लॉक हो जाता है, तो इसलिए हम बंद रखते हैं. लड़कियों को अवेयरनेस नहीं है, तो वो तो कोई सोल्यूशन नहीं है. उनको अवेयर किया जाए, असेंबली में बताया जाए बच्चों को, क्योंकि वो बहुत छोटी बच्ची होती है, उनको कुछ नहीं पता है.
In fact, the Centre for Science and Environment has been studying the toilet building spree, which shows how the ministry built a whopping 5,933 toilets every day for the last month just to fulfill the Prime Minister's promise. Last year, the figure was a modest 109 toilets being built daily.
They were crazily after the numbers. But what we are trying to say, that if they construct X number of toilets, that doesn't mean that X number of toilets are functional. Yeah. You won't get any data on functional toilets, any recent data.
But the glass is half full or half empty depending on how one sees it. Here in Nadia, the toilet project began in 2013. Then 35% people would defecate in the open. Now, zero. Toilets were built in over 3.5 lakh homes, not with state but central funds and Manrega labor. And school children were deployed to change mindsets.
মানুষকে বোঝাতে অনেকটা সময় লেগেছে। কেন? কারণ হলো মানুষ তো একটা অভ্যাসের মধ্যে অভ্যাসের দান। কারণ হলো মানুষ তো একটা ওই মাঠে ঘাটে পায়খানা করার অভ্যস্ত রয়েছে। সেই অভ্যাসটাকে অনেকটা আনতে গেলে অনেক সময় লাগে। এমন বিভিন্ন ক্যাম্প করে বুঝিয়ে তারপরে এই জায়গাটা আসতে হয়েছে।
When a visitor comes calling to your house, what do you show off? Your drawing room? Maybe your bedroom? Perhaps your kitchen. But the Sarkar family here has this for a kitchen. Very little to show off. But what they have and are very proud of is this latest acquisition, the bathroom. Every house in Nadia district now has one today.
There are exceptions, but they perhaps really prove the rule. Nadia has adopted the toilet, and open defecation in this district is now hopefully history. With Munideepa Banerjee, Sunitra Chaudhary for NDTV. So we'll be speaking to these children who are over here from Delhi's government schools in just a bit. But first, I want to take it to Dr. Sunita Narayan, because the Centre for Science and Environment has been tracking this very, very closely, Dr. Narayan. Now, I've read your report, and it seems that one of the things that you're very critical about is the fact that what work was being done last year, that this time they did it in 54 times that speed. Now, is that such a bad thing?
No, Sunitra, please, that's not the purpose of our report, and that's not what our criticism of the government is. The fact is that we like the fact that the Prime Minister said that we will have 100% toilets in our schools. But what we have done is to point out that by just building toilets to meet a target, does not mean that those toilets are actually functional, does not mean that the toilets are actually being used. And I think that is really something that is of great concern. We know that in this country, chasing targets can become a mindless exercise when government just builds because there is a target to achieve. And I don't think that's the purpose of what the Prime Minister said. He wants children to use a functional toilet. He wants his Minister of HRD to make sure that the toilets are functional. And the fact is that the government has built at such a massive scale in such a hurry that it is our fear, unless they can prove otherwise, that those toilets were built just to meet the target. And the issue again for me is, why did they have to build so much in so few days? What were they doing for the rest of the year? And what will they do from now? Will they make sure that those toilets keep functioning? Or was it just to make sure that there was a flag up to say, we've done it? That's a failure, not a success in a school examination.
So are you saying only about 60, the figure that seemed on your report is 60% are functional of this?
Well, see, what our report says is that we don't have figures of what's functional because government has not put out that data. We do know that past surveys that have been done of toilets in schools, because remember, the government is not doing this for the first time. We've had Shiksha Abhiyan, you've had a lot of money put in by previous governments as well to build toilets. And the experience has been that you can build a toilet, but you need to make sure that you bring behavioral change in the use of the toilet, and you need water to make the toilet functional, and you need capacity to clean the toilet. So you need to make sure that there is software as well, not just the hardware of a pit in the ground.
Arvind Gupta, you have to respond to that.
Well, you know, I see this is criticism for the sake of doing criticism. I mean, the government has really done a commendable job. Why 6,000 were being built on a daily basis, why 100 were being built last year. I think, let me just give you a simple analogy. When you play a cricket game, there are certain, you know, initial overs you bat carefully, and you know, it builds up, you build the learnings, and in the end, when you know the target is clear in front of you, you achieve the target. That's the reason you set targets. Otherwise, these are endless projects. I think it's a very commendable job that almost 42% of schools in India, of the 10 lakh schools, 420,000 schools have been covered in less than a year. It does take a mission mode project, and that is what the Prime Minister's agenda is. But having said that, I don't disagree that the challenge now starts. It is a starting point of the challenge. It is not the end road. The end road was to one goal.
Do you also accept that perhaps a lot of
No, I am not accepting anything. I am just saying that this is not, the Prime Minister's vision is not to just build the toilets. It's to solve a problem of open defecation, of sanitation, and this is just a starting point. It requires behavioral change, it requires education, it requires sustenance of these toilets, which is maintenance, you know, cleaning the toilets, and it requires a lot of education. And but if you don't have the toilet, you can't educate people.
So you're saying, okay, get them in. I think I just wanted to get some of the children over here who have been going to Delhi government schools, just to note to our viewers that, of course, Delhi is pampered because we're in the capital city, and that's why it's very, very different from the rest of the country. But they are all government school children from various parts of the city, and they wanted to tell us about their. आपके स्कूल में टॉयलेट कैसा है? नहीं बैठ के बोलो. आप बोलोगे? हाँ. बोलो.
Good morning. My name is Chandni. I study in class 6th. मेरे स्कूल का टॉयलेट बहुत ही गंदा है, और जब बारिश होती है तो उसमें पानी भर जाता है, और कुछ दिनों बाद वो पानी गंदा हो जाता है और उसमें डेंगूज़ आ जाते हैं. उसकी वजह से वो डेंगूज़ एक बच्चे को होता है, फिर उसके बाद धीरे धीरे स्कूल में फैलने लगता है.
अच्छा, लेकिन किसी के स्कूल में तो अच्छा टॉयलेट होगा नहीं? किसी के स्कूल में नहीं है. आप पेरेंट्स, हाँ, आपके स्कूल में अच्छा टॉयलेट है? हाँ, कैसे अच्छा है बताइए? नया बनाया अच्छा?
हाँ।
नया साफ हुआ है?
नहीं साफ नहीं हुआ, वो पहले से ही है।
अच्छा, और उसमें अच्छी बात क्या है? पानी है?
नहीं
तो,
है,
लेकिन क्लीन है, साफ है,
पूरा साफ है।
थोड़ा सा आप बताओ कौन सी स्कूल पढ़ते हो?
Okay.
इंटरनेशनल स्कूल।
That's very good. So one school over here which is good. आप बताना चाहते थे? हाँ।
My name is Sikra.
हाँ।
हमारे स्कूल में कोई ठीक सा होता ही नहीं टॉयलेट, वहाँ पे सारे पैड्स पड़े रहते हैं, सारे गंदे रहता है, वहाँ पे पानी भी नहीं आता।
Arvind Gupta, this, you know, we've been looking through these surveys that has been done by a group that has fighting this case in the Delhi High Court, and in the Delhi High Court, the social jurist which looks at all the schools, they have presented these reports and surveys that have been done where most people seem dissatisfied with how the toilets are. Among the problems that they've listed out in their toilets is that, and this is just Delhi, where they're not talking about, and perhaps the good part is, the good news is that most people, we didn't get anybody who said they didn't have a toilet. But the bad news is most people, no one said that they had a clean toilet. Most people said there were problems of water. And the worst news was that many students didn't have a toilet that was open. Toilets were locked up. So who's looking at that? Isn't it important to fix that before at breakneck speed build new toilets?
So, you know, you are, I think this is a very convoluted debate. You're saying don't build toilets at a breakneck speed because there is no plan to maintain them.
No.
And there's a very unfair assumption here. And I mean, you first need to get the toilets. Of course, we need to maintain them, we need to sustain them, we need to get the community involved, which is a school in this case, and make sure that these toilets are owned by the school in terms of maintaining them. One of the teachers here was describing how...
Owned by the school. But these are government schools,
no,
right?
But see,
Sunitra,
at the end of the day, cleanliness is everybody's job.
Dr. Narayan, I'll let you speak.
The maintenance, the cleanliness, there's one cleanliness which is the user cleanliness that has to be done by the people who use it.
No, but these children
hold on, let me
don't
complete.
have access to them. What about I asked you about the toilets which are locked up?
That, you know, what happens is, this is the change that the whole community needs to bring about. Once the toilets are there, like any lab that is closed or any classroom that is closed, we need to make sure.
How will the community and the community here are the children who are going to the school? How will they change? I accept what you're saying about the home toilets, that they need to, the community needs to be involved. But in a school where we're talking about children, how will they
see today what has happened with this campaign? You are
I'm talking about the schools. Yeah,
I'm talking about the schools only. I'm talking about the schools only. The schools also, the students and the teachers, they need to own those toilets. When they
the students own the toilets. We're talking about little.
No, I'm not talking about them cleaning the toilets. It's the involvement of the community.
Shall we let Dr. Narayan add a point?
Let me just complete the statement that you're making. The point I'm trying to make is very simple. The point I'm trying to make is that now that everybody is aware that there are toilets in their schools, they need to be usable, there is a lot of awareness amongst the children and the teachers and the whole overall student community. And that is going to make sure that, and I've seen this, I mean, in seeing this, the pleasure on the faces of people who want to, and you showed that example from West Bengal.
Yeah, that's right.
They're feeling very proud about having the toilet.
Can I get a word in now, Sunitra?
Please. Yeah, Dr.
Sunitra.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, otherwise, if Mr. Arvind is the only, let me make it very clear. I think the government is completely misinterpreting what their own Prime Minister has set to do. The Prime Minister wanted a functional toilet in every school. The Prime Minister, I am sure, wanted to make sure that the toilets were there that children could use. Okay, so Arvindji, listen to me then. Then please understand that this is not the first time this country has tried to build toilets and has failed in doing functional toilets. And the reason has clearly always been that we have been driven by the fact that we build hardware, but we do not bring the behavioral change and we do not provide for, in many cases, water to make the toilet functional. Now that has been the failure of the toilet mission in the past. It has not ever failed in numbers of providing toilets. It has invariably failed in the using of the toilets. And I will make it, I believe that the Prime Minister wanted his government to make sure that not only did they meet the target, but that they made sure that those toilets were functional. And it's not good enough for Mr. Arvind to say, we built the toilets now and now we will make the behavioral change. It doesn't happen like that. It had to happen together.
One of the kids over here has a question. Yeah, go ahead, आप पूछो.
जी मैम, मैं कहना चाहता हूँ, मुझे तो लगता है कि हमारे लिए जो सरकार, हम लोग देश के भविष्य होते हैं बच्चे, लेकिन हमें लगता है कि हमारे जानवरों के लिए हमसे ज़्यादा व्यवस्था की जाती है. चिड़ियाघरों में हम लोग से ज़्यादा अच्छी व्यवस्था होती है, लेकिन हम लोग देश के भविष्य, हम लोग दिन रात मेहनत.
स्कूल के हो?
जी मैं राजकीय स्कूल से हूँ, बाल विद्यालय से. तो मुझे लगता है हमारे लिए, हम स्टूडेंट हैं, हमें लेटरिन के लिए हम तो फिर वहीं पार्क में ही मिलते हैं या फिर हम घर पे मिलते हैं, क्योंकि हमें लेटरिन की अच्छी व्यवस्था नहीं मिल पाती है, टॉयलेट की. तो हमें
आपके स्कूल के टॉयलेट की क्या प्रॉब्लम है?
जी प्रॉब्लम वही है कि बहुत ज़्यादा गंदा है, उसमें कंकड़ पत्थर गिरे हुए हैं.
पानी है?
पानी नहीं है, हैंड वॉश के लिए कुछ भी नहीं है वहाँ पे.
ओके.